Alrighty. You ready, Douglas?
Yep.
Okay. This is my friend,
Whoa.
Douglas Green. And I'm gonna interview him. So you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Um, it seems like school shootings are more common in the last decade. Do you think this is the case? Why do you think there's more violence on school campuses? What do you think should be done to prevent school shootings?
Alright, so the first question was, do I think they're more common? Yes. What was it? What was the second part? Just
Do you
one at a
think
time.
this is the case?
Yeah, this is definitely the case. They're happening more often, and it's being, shown to the people more often.
Why do you think there's more violence on school campuses?
Um, I think a lot of kids get it in their head that maybe this is a chance to get their name out there. Kids that are severely bullied and, have mental problems, stuff like that, things that they probably should deal with.
Mm-hmm. What do you think should be done to prevent school shootings?
Security officers at school would be nice. I wouldn't say arm the teachers or anything, but trained professionals. At my school, personally, we have police officers around the school.
Mm-hmm. Um, do you think the equality between men and women has improved in the last 20 years?
Definitely, yeah.
Can you give an example?
A lot more women are in different areas of work that maybe they didn't used to be. A lot more manual labor jobs women are starting to get more involved in.
Um, do you think drafting women is good? It's a good idea?
Um, Hard to say if it's a good idea or not. Whether or not they want to be drafted is the question. I mean, it's not
Do
really
you
my
think
place.
anyone should be drafted?
Um, no, not really. Unless it's absolutely necessary, we shouldn't be drafted, forced to do something that we don't want to unless it is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But if it is
All right.
necessary, it probably won't be needed, to be honest. It's
Yeah.
that serious of an issue. More people will volunteer.
Okay. What are your thoughts on drug laws in the country?
Any particular kind of drug?
Marijuana legalization.
It's got to vary by state thing since it's not in the Constitution. It's a state right to decide.
Mm-hmm.
So, just kind of what they're doing now. Each state will decide for themselves.
Do you think it should be available everywhere or
For people that need it for, like cancer patients need it for treatment and stuff like that, yeah.
okay. What about the opioid crisis?
Yeah, explain a little more on that. I'm not fully educated on it.
Fully educate you on it. Um, More people who are prescribed that strong painkillers, opioids, they're starting to abuse them and they're dying or it's very addictive. And
Are they
more
getting
people are
it?
now,
Are they
and
getting it
now
in legal
since,
ways from doctors, or are they buying it off the streets?
yes, they are getting it from doctors. They're being prescribed it, and since they're asking too much, doctors are starting to not allow that anymore, and so people are going back to heroin.
Heroin,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, doctors should regulate how often their patients are refilling their prescriptions. If they're refilling it too often, or maybe they've had this prescription for too long. Normally, those type of things are revoked, from my knowledge. Like you're not allowed to get anymore. But some people are chronic pain people that constantly need more pills. But it should be regulated by the doctor. And
Yeah.
I, for the heroin issue,
It's a
it would just law enforcement's got to get tougher on things like that, I guess.
Yeah, it's a very addictive painkiller. That's the problem.
Which one is it?
So many
Oxycodone?
people are, I guess so. Um, have you heard any of the YouTube conspiracy theories?
About what ads?
Like, just anything, like Shane Dawson, for example,
What about them? I don't watch them personally, so.
or what's that guy's name? He's like, I'm here to date your 6-year-old.
I never heard of that.
Really?
Yeah, the only conspiracies I've
He
ever
was
heard
banned.
is
He was banned from Twitter. You remember that?
I no, I don't use Twitter all that much.
Really?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't either, but I saw it on the news constantly.
mm. Yeah, I know. I haven't heard any conspiracy theories.
Uh,
Just about
well,
ads, but they're really not theories. People are just getting their ads revoked.
yeah. I mean, they're like, I don't know. How do you think the viral spread of this kind of information affects society? So,
Slow down. What? Yeah, you lost me there. Sorry.
how do you think the viral spread of this kind of information affects society?
What, the vile spread of somebody wanting to have sex with a
Someone,
6-year-old?
well, yes and no. Have you heard of that meme? The water turns the
It turns the
frogs
frogs gay.
gay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that dude,
Oh,
and he
it's
comes up with
oh, I
theories,
did see
ridiculous
that. Yeah.
theories,
That
and people
guy.
believe them.
Well, there's
Maybe
always
not from
been
him specifically.
Alex Jones is the guy you're talking about. Uh,
Thank you.
yeah, he does a podcast. I can't remember the name of it or anything, but he says ridiculous things all the time, and that's what gets saved. But from what I've seen, a lot of his podcasts, some of the things do make sense what he's saying. Now, things like things like turning the frogs gay, apparently that is a serious issue. Frogs are turning gay, but I don't know if it's from the water. But that's besides the point. Anyways, yeah, the spread of that type of information, the internet is a great place where people will find other people that have the same opinions that they do. It's hard to say change somebody's opinion, but when somebody has a large crowd like Alex Jones does, it's a little bit easier. So, new people will start believing things just from what other people say. It's just kind of the way it goes in the
Hmm.
internet. It comes with the territory.
Alright. Um, let's see. It seems like real or manufactured. There are a lot more conversations. No, there's more debate surrounding the 2016 election. What are your thoughts on the election and its aftermath?
Like the results of it or the conspiracy
Just
behind it?
the both.
Well, the conspiracy behind it is I just did a small project on this in government, is that Russia bought ads on sites like Facebook and things like that. But the amount of ads that they bought wasn't even significant to the amount that either side spent on their whole entire campaign. Like it was less than 1/10% of the money that they spent. It was like nothing was spent in ad revenue or things like that. Another thing was that they had bot accounts and things like that were influencing others and stuff like that. I don't know the whole extent, but anyway, it's clearly a security breach if these things are true and everything like that. But as far as the outcome, I don't think they really had an effect on it at all. Because in
Mm-hmm.
turn, it's not the people's vote really that matters as much as the electoral votes. So, yeah.
So what about its aftermath? Like,
What about the aftermath, though?
um, I don't know how did it affect the people and its government?
In our government or their
Was it,
government?
well, I would say both, but I mean, aren't they the same government?
Russia and the U.S.? No,
Uh,
two different governments there.
Um,
It just taught us that we need to increase our security and things like that. If everything that
yeah.
they did actually happened, really
Uh,
taught us to trust less, I guess.
yeah.
Put a lot more people on alert.
Do you think the government has become more corrupt or more successful in the 21st century?
With more success comes more corruption. That's just the sad matter of it. With money comes greed, and with greed is corruption. So, you know,
Yep, you're right.
just as we become more successful, we need to be more careful of corruption and catch the people that do it and, really hang them out there.
Um, from the BP oil spill to Hurricanes Katrina, Maria, and Hugo to the California wildfires, the nation has faced a number of natural disasters this century. How do you think these disasters have affected the country?
For a lot of states and things like that, it's brought people closer together. Things like FEMA, they've been working really hard to recover from those sort of events. And, with things like the oil spill, it taught us that we need to definitely be more careful. There needs to be more rules and regulations behind this sort of thing that,
Mhm.
private companies can't just go unwatched so carelessly sometimes. And hurricanes, it's just natural disasters. It's happening more often. You
Yeah.
know, I think it's showing people that we need to put more money into programs like FEMA that help with the aftermath of these disasters.
All right. What are your thoughts on climate change?
Whether or not it's real or not, what?
Just your overall thoughts.
The climate is changing, and in part that is due to us and our use of greenhouse or our production of greenhouse gases affecting our atmosphere and stuff like that. It's definitely been changing the climate quite a bit. Like we're in March and it snowed the other day here, and now it's like a nice 68-degree day outside. Climate's changing rapidly. It's like the flip of a coin.
Do you think that's bad or good?
I mean, it's definitely going to be a bad thing. We had negative 36-degree weather this winter, which was very cold, very detrimental to a lot of things, a lot of the environment. So yeah, it's not a good thing for the environment to be changing so fast. The plants need to have time to adjust to it, and it's just not happening.
Do you think it's just because it's spring now and it should be changing temperatures?
What about today being like 68 and 3 days ago
Well,
snowing?
same thing here happened in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Except it happened last week and it went to six. It was more like 50 to 60, and it's staying here at 60, but it's raining more because the south, further down south.
I mean, it just, up here in Indiana, weather does change rather fast, but I've noticed that it's been changing faster over the past 10 years, definitely. since I've been able to
All right.
notice it. It's
Okay.
just 3, 4 days ago there was snow on the ground.
Yeah.
Now it's sunny outside.
Um, what do you think there are, well, let me reword this. Do you think there are positive and negative impacts of social media on society?
Well, there are definitely positive and negative impacts. The positive being that you're more connected to people around you. Negative is that you're more connected to people around you. Like I said earlier, more opinions, more false opinions based off just things that are said. People with groups of followers, their word gets taken as the gospel these days, and that just shouldn't be the
Mm-hmm.
case. But
Uh,
it definitely connects people a lot better.
do you believe that, with newer technology and social media, it can cause more depression and anxiety?
Oh yeah, definitely, because we've become an instant gratification society. We want something, boom, we got it on our phone. We want to order a pizza really fast. We just do it. We want to send a text to somebody, we can do it. You know,
Do you think it's it makes it harder on people to publicly speak and communicate with people in person?
as far as publicly speaking, it's a lot easier to get your voice out there, but you can also be shut down a lot harder than you used to be. You know, Comedians will say that performing on stage is scarier, but they don't want that video posted on YouTube just because the amount
Yeah,
of criticism that you will get back on things like that is just
yeah.
larger. But as far as what was the other question? Sorry.
It affects their communications with people in person.
Um,
Does it make it harder for them to talk, socialize?
I I don't have a problem socializing with friends in person. I think
Okay.
other people can have a problem with it. Maybe they're not as socially capable because they've had so much time spent online talking to people. It's
Mm-hmm.
harder sometimes.
All right. Uh, do you think about the current debates about immigration in our country?
Can I what?
What do you think about the current debates about immigration in our country?
Well, I don't necessarily support building a 26-foot tall wall, but border security is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I also just did a thinking government over this as well. Uh, what is it like? I gotta think the amount of money. It's in the billions of dollars of taxpayer money that is sent back to Mexico by illegal immigrants, and that is money
Yeah.
that's not going back into the economy. Not to mention, gangs are making millions upon millions of dollars from here in the U.S., and then all that money gets sent back. Not to mention the drugs that are coming into the U.S. It's not so much the immigrants, but it's the money that they send back that's the bigger issue because that money is not staying in the U.S. economy and thus brings the economy down. So
Do you think these laws should be more strict?
the law's pretty strict right now. You know, if you're not supposed to be here, you get sent back. But what I think should happen is it should be easier to be allowed into the country. The test right now, uh, me and a bunch of friends took that test in government. It asked some really weird questions, like who was the seventh president? I don't know. I'm a U.S. citizen and I don't know. It asks some weird
Yeah.
question like what's the third line of the Constitution? What's the 17th Amendment? It just asks some weird questions that, I guarantee most Americans don't know. So these tests should be designed to be a lot easier for people to be allowed into the country, because then they will come over here, get jobs, and then go back. But they'll come back, and maybe they'll come back with their family next time,
Yeah.
and then they'll stay here.
What are your thoughts about DACA issue?
About what?
Yeah, DACA. No,
I don't know.
DACA.
I
The
yes.
whole getting rid of it and people are getting upset.
Getting rid of what? I don't know what
DACA?
I don't know what DACA is, Liz.
Well, maybe I'm saying it wrong, but just move on.
I've still never heard of DACA, so I don't have an opinion.
You have. You just don't know what I'm saying. I promise you, you do know. You know, immigration law that, they were trying to get rid of and they had a whole protest over it
Deferred action for
recently.
childhood arrival.
Say that again?
Oh, deferred action for childhood arrivals. DACA.
Yeah.
Immigrants options for undocumented immigrants who came in the United States before the age of 16. What, that they're legal if they come in before they're 16? I don't know. I would have to know more to have an opinion on it.
Okay. Let's see. Sexual assault has been in the news a lot lately. Do you think it's more prevalent that people feel more confident about coming forward?
In the sense of,
Do you think it's better that they're coming out?
do I think it's better that they're coming out? Yes, but not to news sources. You know, unless it's somebody famous, there's really no reason for you to be blasphemed. If it's not a set in stone deal, I don't think anything like that should be on the news unless it is, this person has been trialed and everything, 'cause otherwise it's just slander at that point. You're going to sit until proven guilty, but once you're on the news and you've told your story, nobody else is going to believe anything that the other person says.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of like the Me Too movement?
What do I think of it?
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea and concept, but like I said, it's become a lot more than that. It's
Yeah.
seemed to become more like a way to slander guys. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the stories aren't as prevalent because it doesn't get proven as often because it's so hard to prove, but a lot of these women are lying. I wouldn't say a lot. Some of these women are lying. Saying a lot seems like it's more of a majority. That seems like a bad thing. But
Yes.
some of these women are lying and have absolutely no proof and just no way to prove anything that they're saying about these people. But even if they are telling the truth, it's a horrible thing that happened. But if they are lying, they've ruined somebody else's life. Even if they said that they're lying, they've ruined that person's life. You
Yeah.
know,
Uh,
I can't remember it exactly, but there's some college students, 3 boys. She accused 3 boys of raping her. And then they got all their scholarships, everything removed. They got kicked out of college without any trial or anything. And then she said that it was all a lie. None of them got anything back.
mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Speaking of college, currently 5 out of 4 women are being raped on college campuses. What do you
That
think of that?
that number doesn't add up. 5 out of 4.
Sorry, 4 out of 5. Sorry.
I don't know. If every
That's a high ratio.
that is a very high ratio, but the thing is, we have to know if all these numbers are true or are these just asking. Because, obviously at colleges a lot of drinking goes on. And when somebody is
A lot of party.
intoxicated, they are not allowed to give consent. So,
They're
I,
not allowed to give consent.
most people in college are not over the age of 21 to begin with, so when you're intoxicated, you cannot give consent. Any sort of, oh, what is it? I know the word. Uh, any sort of influence on your body, whether it be drugs or alcohol, you are not allowed to give consent anymore. Even if you do, it doesn't matter. It could still be considered rape. Even if you
Mm-hmm.
said yes and everything, it's still considered rape. So, it's just hard to say anything, that high of a percentage is clearly a problem. But we have to know if these things are true or not. Just always
Yeah.
take information with a grain of salt.
What about the church scandals?
Church scandals? I haven't heard of any. What?
The priests raping young kids and then
You know,
lying.
this goes back, who's not going to believe of a priest? You know, so it's definitely not a good thing if it's happening. But,
Well, yeah.
you can't judge all the apples from one bad one, so
Yeah. It's a
yet
very
again,
touchy thing.
just take whatever is said with a grain of salt again. It's not a
All
good thing if
right.
it's happening, but
Well, yeah.
let's not go accusing people then. I don't know what else to say.
Well, I don't think a kid's more likely to accuse a priest.
I mean, it seems pretty easy to.
Yeah, of course. But how many times have you think you've heard a kid accuse a priest for raping them? They don't even know what raping is, probably at that age.
Right, somebody wasn't raised around social media very much, Liz.
Yeah, well, you know what? I was raised in a different time from now. So, well, you and me did not grow up with technology until we were like, what, third grade?
I
And then
had
everything started
technology
coming
before
out.
that.
We had technology, but we didn't have iPhones or iPads.
I definitely don't
We weren't,
iPhones or iPads. I had an iPod in like
but we weren't, well, yeah,
second grade.
iPods were before the iPhones.
I mean, I had a no, well, yeah, I had a touchscreen iPhone
Yeah.
or iPod rather. I had like an iPod 4 or something like that early on.
Well, iPod was like the first because everyone had a little music playlist on their iPods.
I didn't. I had an MP3 player. I actually had a CD player. I
I
had
mean, yeah,
a
MP3 player. That's what I had.
I had a Walkman for a while. I think it was pretty cool. I still have it somewhere. I have a CD. I know where my CD player is at. My little one that I used to walk around with until I got an MP3 player. That's somewhere too. I don't know where it's at. It's got like 100 some odd songs on it. I never
I
had a
used that
little
thing all
iPod
the
for
time in
music.
elementary.
I didn't use it in elementary. My elementary was quite strict on
Well,
that
I
sort of
had an
thing.
MP3 player, and at that time, wasn't it called an iPod or was it called an MP3 player?
I don't know.
Because they were just coming out with those when I had one, and they called it an iPod.
Yeah. Anyways, skirt skirt.
Um, okay, last question. How did today's popular culture affect your daily life?
What do you mean in popular culture? Like what about them?
The music you listen to now. Do you think it affect your daily life?
I mean, I definitely listen to music every day. I don't know if it affects my daily life, but you know, a lot of the songs I listen to don't haven't come out within the like I think
Hmm.
I only have a handful of songs that have come out in the past 10 years on
Yeah.
my playlist. But in terms of like video games, definitely, constantly playing those.
What's up?
You know, I'm not on a whole lot of what's referred to as like hype trains. You know, I'm not buying
Yeah,
Supreme merch. I don't have a Gucci belt.
understandable.
You know, I miss when shoes were the popular thing. That was always fun. You know,
Uh,
now everybody at school just wears Vans and Converse and Air Ones.
oh,
That's all
I'm
that's
always
worn.
seeing people wearing like Nikes, just some form of Nikes or
Yeah,
Adidas.
everybody wears Nikes too, but like, seems like everybody at my school has Vans on all the time. Vans or Converse.
Oh yeah, Vans are pretty popular. Converse is not popular here. I feel it's more running shoes, majority.
Yeah,
It's kind of rare to see like Vans or Converse.
it's because Converse can't be worn with like shorts or skirts. I don't feel like, unless you
Oh
got
no,
skinny
they
ankles.
can.
You gotta have skinny ankles. You can't like if you don't have like
Well, you
really
always got high
skinny ankles.
tops.
No, that's what I mean. Even with high tops, you can't have like thick boy ankles and wear Converse without pants on. Trust me, you don't.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you'll never catch
Oh, I'm
my
sorry.
ass with
I
fucking
always.
Converse on. I have
I
Converse, but I
mean,
only wear them with jeans.
I've
Actually,
worn Converse my entire life. Every other shoe I put on, it does not feel right. It feels wrong.
it's because you don't know what right feels like, Liz. You just don't.
Whatever.
Alright. Any other questions? Did you need all that information from me? The.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't. I don't think we need to record that part.
Alright.
So.
Alright. I'll end the recording.